positivity rates.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's,
all right, guys, we'll go ahead and get started.
okay.
Darcy's gonna work on that. This, like I said, it's our first week.
Do you want me to wait or you want me to go ahead?
I'd hang on for a second. Guys, we're just hanging on for a minute for a minor technical difficulty. Sorry guys, that's my signal. New technology.
Oh, yeah.
Still some. There's a little bit of feedback still. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Okay, good evening. We will call to order the Planning Commission meeting for the City of El Dorado, November 19th, 2020. Mr. Shivers, can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Hackler, Commissioner Leeson,
Here.
Commissioner Long,
Here.
Commissioner Stewart,
Here.
Commissioner Tetrick,
Here.
Commissioner Watson,
Here.
Commissioner Fellers.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can you guys hear us? Brad, Steve, and Kyle, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can.
Yep, you
I
bet.
got you, Commissioner McLaren. I definitely read down my my minutes list of members that attended, not my agenda. So I got you.
All right.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is approval of minutes from our last meeting. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the minutes from our November 19th, from our October 22nd meeting be approved as presented.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. New business. Mr. Shivers, would you introduce that, please?
Sure. All right, so tonight we have an application for rezoning the property at 2242 and 2278 Southeast Highway 54. The current zoning on the property is MP, which stands for Manufactured Home Park Residential District. The proposed zoning is C1, General Business District. That includes such uses as office, retail, restaurant, self-storage, public assembly, and a number of similar uses. The property is surrounded by single-family properties to the north and to the east. It's pasture to the south across Highway 54, and a larger commercial property immediately to the west. As you guys are aware from past cases, this stretch of Highway 54 is a mix of both commercial and residential uses. Some of those appropriately zoned, and some of those are commercial uses occurring in agricultural or residential properties, just the way it came into Butler County zoning. The future land use map calls for neighborhood mixed use in this area. Briefly, that's just a mix of residential and small-scale commercial uses meant to serve the area. The property is located on Highway 54 frontage, which is definitely an arterial, and that's supported by the comp plan as far as we want commercial properties accessing those high-volume roads rather than residential roads. As far as some of the criteria goes and impacts and answering the question of how detrimental this may be, in our analysis, we don't expect it to be any more detrimental to the neighboring properties than the Highway 54 is, with the emissions, the lights, and the sound that you get from that day and night. Darcy, we still have a little bit of feedback up here. This property is located in our ETJ, our extraterritorial jurisdiction, otherwise called the growth area. In this area, we have land use authority. Our entire zoning ordinance does not apply in this area, so we are just regulating land uses. This case went to the Butler County Commission this Tuesday, 2 days ago, where the Butler County Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the rezoning case. And just to reiterate, our authority in this area is the zoning of land uses. So we do not have site plan review authority. So we don't do parking, screening, some of those other things that are at the site plan review level. We just look at what the zoning allows. And to recap that, C1 would allow uses such as office, retail, restaurant, self-storage, public assembly, and other similar entertainment and general service-based uses. So with that being said, we do recommend approval of the rezoning request. And at this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Greg Drexler, the applicant and property owner, to come up and tell you guys a little bit more about his plans.
Name and address, please.
Greg Drexler, 160 Southeast Munson Hill, El Dorado. So 2242 was formerly Dale's. You guys remember that? It's a little service station bait stand years ago. And so I have a small building there that I'm a contractor and sell WIC buildings and have for lots of years. And so I operate off of 2242 Southeast Highway 54. I own the house next door to the east, which is the 2278. Those lots are, I think they're 120 wide, 300 deep. And I want to take the house down that's on 2278. And there's approximately from the front of the house on the south side, which I'm going to say that's setback, because the house to the east of that is in line with the house that I own. So there's about 102 feet there that I could place a building there with about I think it was 18 units in that one, and then if I run another one horizontally east and west behind that, a total of like maybe 26 units. What my plan is on 2242, it's got two gates. It's got two 24-foot gates and two entrances off the highway. So, and then the house place at 2278 has its own driveway. I'd use my east gate on 2242 to come in and have some bigger units, like they would pull in to 2242 and face east and then back into a larger unit, you know, and I would use my parking lot to maybe facilitate that, and then a drive out back, and I don't have that all figured out as far as how I would lay that out. I might put some units on the north end of that to maybe add some 10 by 10s, but these other ones would be 12 by 40s, something like that. And then some 10 by 15s or 10 by 20s on the east side, but you would be able to circle the building, you know, and come and go with the driveways that are already there. So I'd sneak that in there and, you know, put the elevation where it needs to be and rock it or concrete it. I still don't know if I should do, you know, I'm not sold on whether I'm gonna do enclosed or open, you know. I'm more inclined to do enclosed, you know, because I can do that all myself and do it wholesale, and, you know, I might as well do that now than later. But that's kind of my plan. I would also like to put a small office and a small shop on the 2242. We don't have a building to get in and do, you know, I don't have a building to get a truck in, you know. So eventually I'd like to put a small sales office there, but keep everything open to the south so that I could get semis. I have semis do miscellaneous WIC material and or steel for metal roofing and barns and things come in there all the time. So I'd like to, that's what's gonna make the front end of that as a parking area and pulling back into those units work, because I don't have any plans to build anything up there, so it would just all stay open. So that's kind of what I got in mind.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for him? Any of you guys have any questions for him? Brad, Kyle, Steve, no? All right, thank you.
Okay.
I guess, Jay, I have a question before I open the public hearing.
Sure.
I assume letters went out to people within, which there's not very many, right? I mean,
A lot of letters went out. The state law says that unincorporated areas, you send out letters to 1,000 feet because they're typically rural
Sure.
and low density. Well, this particular area is not that low density, so I sent out a lot of letters. A lot of them are there to the north.
Okay.
But I didn't receive any calls or emails this time.
okay.
I talked to both neighbors.
If you want to talk some more, can you get up
Yeah,
here for
go ahead.
other members can hear you?
Okay. I talked to both neighbors. So Will Carpenter owns the property and has storage to my direct, my west line.
Yep.
You know, and beyond. And I told Will about it, and then I also, the little lady that lives just to the east of my house on 2278, I went over and talked to her about it. But she also knows I'm interested in buying her house. You know, I tried to buy the other house out back that just sold. There was a modular set that sits there on the first road back to the east, that just sold, and I didn't get that bought, but nobody's living there right now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, no other questions? Okay, well, at this time, we will open the public hearing. Anybody like to speak? Okay, we will close the public hearing. Is there any other discussion you guys have? Other than questions for him? Since he's in-
These were storage units, he's talking about, right?
That's his plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's interested in the storage units.
Yeah.
Right, and so the C1 general business zoning allows that use, and then if approved, he will take his site plans and building plans to Butler County.
Any other questions? Okay, if there are no questions, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend approval of case number 20-05-REZ, an application by Greg Drexler to rezone 2242 and 2278 Southeast Highway 54 from MP Manufactured Home Park Residential District to a C1 General Business District for reasons stated in the staff recommendation and heard at this public hearing.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Mr. Shivers, can we have a roll call?
Sure. Commissioner Fellers,
Yes.
Commissioner Leeson,
Yes.
Commissioner Long,
Yes.
Commissioner McLaren,
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart,
Yes.
Chairman Petrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson.
Yes.
All right, motion passes unanimously to recommend approval.
Thank you. Okay, old business. Do we have any, Mr. Shivers?
No old business.
Any staff items?
Two things, very briefly. The South Douglas parking lot special use permit did pass the city commission meeting. And the second thing is we will have one more meeting this year on December 17th. That is the Thursday before the week of Christmas. We have one rezoning application.
Okay, do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.